Hope everybody's having a good day. Turn that this way so I can see what I'm doing. We're gonna have some tea. I feel like I'm having a pretty good day. We did wake up to a little bit of snow, and I was like, and I mean a little bit, it's already melted off. Right? But I was like, damn, because I have some potatoes that have pushed up, but they seem to have survived it. My rhubarb isn't overly happy, but I didn't make her come up. It was her choice, right? So everybody will bounce back. I haven't looked in the greenhouse yet, but I suspect it's just now warming up in there, and everybody's probably okay because I shut it. I shut it like towards midday before the light like went all the way away, so there should be some heat built up in there. But I'm gonna get inventive with my tea today, and I almost want everybody to see it. I know not many people are here yet because I've only been on for 1 minute and I'm a little early, but I'm gonna get inventive. So today I am going to do. Remember a while back I got that white jasmine tea sample from Me Leaf Teas because jasmine's really tricky. You either really like it or you really won't. And in the U.S., unfortunately, it's really common for the jasmine to be present on tea as essential oils, not real jasmine. So I was like, I want to make sure it's something that's actually like white leaf tea that's been infused with jasmine. So I'm going to do a little bit of this beautiful white leaf jasmine. Not too much because I have plans. I'm going to have to order some more of this past the sample. But I like when they sell little samples like this because you don't end up with a ton of tea that you don't like. Good morning, everybody. Hey, everybody rolling in. So today I'm doing a white jasmine infused tea. And then I thought to myself, oh my god, why haven't I tried this yet? I'm going to add some of my white nectarines to this because I love white nectarine with white teas, like with my white silver needle or anything like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, it could go with jasmine really well. And I like to rip up my little pieces of nectarine because it gives more of a surface space to extract from. And I feel like it'll either play off the jasmine flavor really well, or I'm going to be disgusted by it. It'll be one or the other. I got these white nectarines from Azure Standard. Okay, so let me get my water going. I'm going to do well, it's already on 180, so I'm going to do 180. White teas they take higher temperature than like a green tea. Like a green tea, you want to stick in the 170, 165 range if you want more of the like L-theanine and less of the tannins that dry your mouth out. But when it comes to white teas, you can go a little higher because they have less tannins, right? But yeah, somebody said I'm drinking jasmine tea this morning. Good morning. Yes, I am doing jasmine as well. I'm gonna do I'm doing jasmine infused white tea with the white nectarines to see how that goes. But yeah, so this lady says that, I assume lady, says that she always misses my live teas because, I'm on the West Coast, so in the rest of the U.S., it's already like well into the afternoon, but it's barely 9 a.m. here, Um, but but yeah, so I'm just gonna have an okay day. Yesterday we managed to get. I'm really proud of myself actually, and it took all the life out of me. I'm exhausted from trying to fight off like shingles. Like I don't have an outbreak yet, but like the tiredness is there. So we got a bunch of the hay and grass hay that like falls off over the winter of bales into our hay barn. So we have a lot of it on the ground, and so I tractored it all out into a pile, and then we got it onto a big tarp, and then we wrapped it up like a burrito, and dragged it all the way up to the gardens, and then we got an entire garden bed covered with it, and the mycelium for oyster mushrooms put down. I still need to go over it and cover it with wood chips. That's the next step, and it's an important one. But today we're doing a little bit of a break on the garden stuff so we can start working on the goat pen again. We were gonna do that yesterday, but we ended up getting the garden thing done instead. So today we just need to move some more paneling down there and fix a couple little spots. And what we do is we just keep putting Betty in there with her babies. And then we let her see us feed a different goat, and that makes her jealous. So she goes around to look for ways to get out, right? And then she gets out, and we go fix that spot. And I swear to God, that's the best way to do it with goats. Like, especially if like you're piecing together a fence from all different types of fencing and stuff, you know, because fencing is crazy expensive. Um, but that's been working pretty well, and I'm pretty sure the last spot we have to fix will be the last spot we have to fix, right? Um, so, and when Betty gets out, she just is just in existence. But this Friday, we get 2 new goats, so I want to make sure that it's pretty watertight. Because I don't want to chase new goats again. Alright. Ooh, one of these days I'm going to break this little pot. I know it. I know that to be true. The good news is it's only like $30 for the set, so if I break it, it's not, you know, financially the end of the world. For some of those teapots you can get are crazy expensive. Like, people spend hundreds of dollars on teapots. I do have a really high-end Japanese cast iron teapot. One of these days I'll have to use it in front of you guys, but it's big. It's meant for multiple people. If I drink that entire pot of tea by myself, usually I'm using it with like my husband and such. Um, but does your daughter live in a school bus? No, my daughter does not live in a school bus. But if that was an insult, fuck, I must be old because it went over my head. It totally went over my head. Um, but maybe it's like the magic school bus. I don't know. My brain's gonna overanalyze it now. Maybe it was a genuine question. um, but uh, but yeah, I am. I'm pretty excited about it. Somebody says, Norma, nope. Anyone who has had chickenpox can't get shingles. Apparently, also true if you got the chickenpox vaccine. Yeah. People are really don't understand shingles very well. Like, they don't realize that it's a virus that you have in your body from when you got chickenpox. You can't catch it from somebody unless you never had chickenpox, right? But even then, if you've had the vaccine, which most people that were born, you know, in the late 80s going forward have been jabbed with that, you know, and that's why not as many kids get chickenpox anymore, but they're prone to shingles forever. Like, it's just a thing that happens. And honestly, even if you have never had chicken pox or anything like that, unless you like walk up to me and like lick a sore that I don't even have yet. Right, and also a person isn't contagious until they have like the rash breakout, right? Like, you actually have to have like physical contact with it. So ain't gonna jump out through the screen and get you, or and I don't even all the stuff from my apothecary I use a ship fulfillment center, so it's all the way in Idaho. I'm not even touching the things that I ship out to people, you know. But how often do I suggest to drink the brewer's yeast broth? I drink it every day. You know, you can start slow and go from there, but because it's like real vitamin B's and bioavailable, it won't hurt you to drink it and consume it daily. If anything, sometimes these deficiencies take time, so we have to really, really build them up. Um, Somebody said while I was stalking your videos, you spoke about restless leg, but I don't remember what it was. Magnesium. Yeah, it was my magnesium spray video where I show you how to make your own magnesium oil. And I use air quotes because people get so confused. Even though in the video I say a million times that there is no oil in this. It's just the water feels kind of oily because there's so much salt in it that it feels almost, I want to say slimy, but not slimy, just it feels like an oil, right? But there's no oil involved, and people are like, where's the oil? And I'm like, there's no oil. It's not actually oil. Can't mix oil with it because it's not actually oil. Oh my gosh. I wish you could smell this right now. So part of drinking tea is smelling tea, and there's different areas where you can smell it, and like the lid gives you the first bit, right? And then once you're done, that's such clear soup, as they call it. And you can smell the pot itself, and then of course there's the tea itself. But all of it, smelling it gets you ready to taste it, right? Oh my goodness, that is fantastic, right? I always knew that I liked the nectarine with the white tea, but that jasmine just really pulls it all together. It's like summertime and blossoms and like not just summertime, but like it tastes like you fell asleep like under like a cherry blossom tree with like the warm sun. Right? It's very, very, very I don't know. And it also has like a milky mouth feel, right? That might sound weird to some people, but teas have mouth feels. They can be dry, they can be thick, they can be milky, they can be astringent, right? So some teas I like them just because of the way they feel when I drink them, and they might not have a whole lot of flavor, right? But that is really nice. That is a nice cup of tea, and I think that I'm gonna try to do a cold brew too. I think that would be fantastic if I get more to do a cold brew. Yes, that's the first day of May, and I'm no longer celery. Because my name is April, and the month of April is hard. Um, and forever ago, an old friend was like, "I'm gonna start calling you celery during April." Right? um, so for everybody, I know I answer questions now and then, but Friday is my Q&A for health stuff. Friday is my Q&A. Just so everybody knows that I'm not ignoring them. I put boundaries with myself of like when and what I answer. Oh, I see it in the background. I need like a little note. Need a little note to remember to flip the hourglass. I don't think it's actually a 30-minute hourglass. It said it was, but I think it goes maybe for like, oh no, don't be sorry about like asking questions or anything. It's okay. And every now and then I jump into them. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that like I'm not ignoring anybody like out of spite or meanness or that I don't care or anything like that. I either have to turn my brain on in that way or I just exist and have tea, right? And right now that I'm like pushing back shingles, it's super important that I like stick to my own boundaries with myself because it's hard. It's hard. My capacity for my OEs, which is part of my neurodiversity, to like kick up and like turn on and take over my body, like my brain does not care about my physical limitations. Like I always say, and it always creeps people out, but and they don't really stick around long enough to hear why. But like, there's me and then there's my brain. It's like I don't have like a different like personality or voice or anything like that, but like it's just different. Like if I let my brain turn all the way on and I step all the way into my OEs and my neurodiversity, like there is no more consideration for the physical aspects of myself. It is just I give like free flow matrix thinking information and it just turns on, right? And it's crazy. It's hard to live with. It can hurt me. It can actually really hurt me. And I hurt myself for years with it because it's not just about information, but like for like working and analyzing and everything like that. And so these tea times are actually really helpful with that because I didn't know. Well, it was like my nervous system was trained to turn on my brain in that way whenever I interacted with anybody on social media, right? Because that's what you guys like. Right, that's the me that everybody's in awe by and like impressed by, but it doesn't really give me space to like be the me that doesn't turn that on. And I'm still talk a lot, but this is like calm. This isn't me like engaging that part of my like increased psychomotor and all that stuff, you know. Um, and so it's just like it's fucking crazy, and it's taken me years. Like before I knew about like the way my brain functioned. I don't know. I lived like when I was younger and stuff. Like part of why I like always smoked like huge amounts of weed and like did anything that I could really that would slow me down was because I was trying to self medicate for a neurodiversity that I didn't know that I had. Right, and then like benzos was a huge part of that because they definitely make you go quiet, right? And then once I came off of it, you know, I start going down the rabbit hole of what's wrong with me. Why do I talk to the point that I melt people's faces? Why can I talk until my voice goes sore? What type of mental health issue do I have? And people with minor diversity, it's really easy for them to get misdiagnosed with things. And but like finding out about it fucked me up. Like going through like tons of like positive disintegration and like realizing all the things that I do in life and like evaluating every instance of your life against what you now know about yourself. Right, and it was really, really hard and lonely because there's not a lot of people like me, and then like also like I don't know, embarrassing because people have like a lot of stigma about it without even realizing it, right? Like, but it has helped me. It has really helped me like learn that like I'm not broken. There's nothing wrong with me. I just like function in different ways, like really rapidly and a lot. And what I think is simple to me can be like overwhelming or complex or seem like a lot of information to a person who doesn't live with my neurodiversity. And um, but yeah, so learning to live with it has been a challenge. But I mean, live with it in the way that like I have to like have limitations on myself, right? Like on Friday, you'll see what I mean, or any other Q&A. You can go watch all of my other live broadcasts and stuff. I have like 2, 3, 4 hour Q&As where like alls I do for 4 hours straight is talk, right, and give information and ideas and but that's my brain, not me, if that makes sense. Like it's me, but and there's no regard for my body. Like, and making myself stop, the only reason that I would stop is because eventually my body can't keep up. Like I get a sore throat and I can't talk for a day afterwards, you know, and that shit's not healthy, you know. And so it's really yeah, it is. It's really hard. But I'm getting there and I'm coming to terms with it. Like, and by coming to terms with it, I mean like I'm learning how to say, hi, I can exist without giving all the information. I had a person get frustrated at me the other day, and it was a really good example of like having to make sure that I have boundaries with myself. So I do those every day, the little reel or the short, you know what I mean, like where it's like a 60-second video of like what I would do, and I always do it after these tea times. I record it right after this. That way I'm done with, you know, work for the day for the most part, and I can focus on other things. Um, and I did one yesterday about milk thistle, and somebody was like, you should put a picture of the plant you're talking about so I know what to look for. And I was like, hey, these are just like quick little easy for me videos. It would take a lot more editing and effort to add like a picture of the plant that I'm talking about, right? And I was like, but the good news is, like, if you Google milk thistle, you can look at thousands of pictures, right? And the person was like, I know that, but I want the information from you. And it was really, I don't know, that doesn't seem like a whole lot. And I get the concept because I'm an herbalist and I show you herbs and I get that. But, like, that's kind of what it's like to like be a person that your brain is like a living fucking breathing Google for like herbs and health stuff. Right? And but it's like it was a real moment for like my boundaries of being like, I know that, but there's a difference between like teaching you and enabling you. Right? Like y'all are super capable of looking up what a plant looks like. Like I don't also need to do that work for you, you know, and obviously when I do the videos about like meeting plants in the wild, that's totally different, you know. And so is you know, it's just fucking crazy. It's just crazy. And like I face that every day. Like but I also like and it's hard because I face like then feeling bad about not giving a person what they want, even though I don't really face it as much as I used to, you know, like trauma makes people, especially women, like people pleasers, you know, like give, give, give until I'm empty. And I'm like, my guy, I'm pretty sure you know what fucking Google is. Right. You know, like, and I get emails like that by the hundreds. Like, it won't even be like a conversation where somebody's like, hi, April, how are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I was dealing with this. I was curious about. It'll just be like a one fucking sentence that's totally a Google search result. Like, what to use for high blood pressure. That's it. Like, nothing else. And I'm like, hey. Forever ago, when people would send me stuff like that, I would like passively aggressively send them like a link to Google. I'd be like, oh, I think you meant to type that here, right? But it's hard, you know. It is hard, and but I'm working on it, and like I also work on like making sure that I don't compare myself to other people, and I don't. That's why I don't follow a lot of other herbalists. And it's not that I don't have like any admiration or anything wrong or against any other herbalists, but I think when we're in a world that's hyper competitive, even though the average person who's practicing herbalism for themselves or just learning to heal their family might not realize it, but the herbalism industry itself is hyper competitive. Even if they're like, "Hi, I love you," right? That shit's fake. A lot of the time, it really is, and so a vast majority of like well-known herbalists who are following me, at least in part from my perspective, not all of them, but a good chunk of them, they aren't following me because they're like inspired by my work or like what I do, right? More often than not, if I pay attention and I post something, within a day or so, they'll like passive aggressively say something back without saying my name, right? And I don't have the energy for that. I don't have space for it. I don't have the time for it. It's not healthy for anybody, so I don't follow other herbalists. I don't, because I also don't want to fall into that trap. I don't even want to give myself the capacity to do that. Because we're all human. We're all human. We live in a world where it does everything it can to make us hyper compare ourselves. We'll compare what they have, what they're achieving, their following count, their number, their comment interaction, and then it makes us not be able to see what we are achieving and feel like we aren't achieving enough. And for my particular brain, that's dangerous, because I already think like on a regular basis. I fight against thinking that I'm not doing enough, or I could be doing better, or I could be achieving more, because that's part of my neurodiversity, right? And it's something that I fight against. And like learning how to just be okay and content with what you're achieving and not feeling like a fucking loser because you didn't get the 800th project that your brain came up with done. It's not realistic. It's not realistic, And so it's something that I'm working against, and it's fucking hard because you instantly think that all these things should come together, and if you add that on top of seeing what appears to be a perfectly put together person doing better. But it's also important to remember that all that shit's a lie. Even with me, I try to be as open as I possibly can. Be like, I'm fucking struggling right now. I'm exhausted. I'm behind on a lot of things. I'm having to let go of a lot of things. I've got physical health issues, mental health issues. I've got kid issues, marriage issues. All these things are very real for me. But when you look at the average social media herbalist or influencer otherwise, we all know that they don't really show us that. Sometimes they might throw a bone now and then and to get like sympathy, right? But sometimes it backfires too. I see that happen to a lot of people. And if there was one piece of advice that I was going to give anybody before they tried to grow a big social media following or whatever they're doing, don't do that. Make sure that you're showing people that you're a real human on a regular basis, because people will build a romanticized idea of you, and the second that you break that idea that you have helped cultivate by being a real human, shit gets crazy. People get angry, people get violent, people get, aggressive. They start, they hate you, and they might just move on. Most of them do, but sometimes they don't. And so it's really important that we try to just like rip ourselves off of that pedestal that social media inherently tries to put us on, and that we might try to put ourselves on, or just feeling like we have to have all of our shit together. And that's super prevalent in the herbalism world. You have too much trauma, you have too much this, you have too much that to be a healer. Shut the fuck up. That shit is toxic as hell. And arguably, the person who pretends like they have all their shit together has a long way to go before they have their shit together, right? Because being able to admit publicly that you are a human, you will always have flaws, you will always make mistakes, you will always be facing shit that harms you in some way or another, and to pretend like that isn't happening is like the deepest flaw of them all. And it doesn't do anybody any sort of good, because then the average person who wants to become an herbalist or a healer or whatever it is that you do feels like they don't live up to par to that. They don't dress the right way. They don't talk the right way. They didn't learn the right way. They didn't this the right way. They haven't dealt with that the right way. And it shuts people the fuck out. And it agitates me. It agitates me, obviously. You know, And so I allow myself to be broken because that's what I am, you know? But not in like a bad way. Like I don't view myself as like a permanent victim or like incapable of doing things, right? But like there are parts of me that are damaged that will always be that way. Whether that's physical or emotional, and that's okay because I've had a hard fucking life and probably so have you. Right? But that is inherently what it means to be a human, and social media really tries to strip us of that, right? And so, you know, and you're right. Some people say there's no right way to be, right? And it doesn't mean that like somebody can't be like super loving and like calm and peaceful and have their shit together, but like when it comes to like the herbalist realms, like I know a lot of people right now that wear that mask but behind the scene are fucking mean, right? And like do underhanded shit, and like they all pretend to be friends, and it's really exceptionally worse because let's just be honest, most of the people that are trying to climb the herbalism ladder are women. And we are more likely to be underhanded. That's just because that's just the way we've evolved. We don't really have brute force, so we have words and actions and things, you know. And then we get filled with envy because we're told by a society that we should be achieving to a certain degree, and that when we're not, we blame another person. I've got a lady that I've known for most of my life who decided to become an herbalist, and that's super cool. But then, like, when that happened, like, she felt the need to threaten me, like, literally to like warn me that she was coming. She was like, "Oh, by the way, I'm starting to do this too," and I'm like, "Oh, that's really cool. That's amazing. I hope it goes well for you." And she fucking blocked me. So it wasn't like she was talking with me to tell me about it because she was excited. She felt like she needed to warn me, as if she was going to like be my undoing. Right, and that's super common amongst women, and it's sad, you know. Um, it's just it's really sad. It's really sad that we're like that. That we somehow have this belief, and we're made to feel that like if we don't tear everybody around us down, that we can't succeed. As if we could be like the one herbalist to all billions of people on the earth. As if there's enough of us to go around. Like as if like there wouldn't be somebody that resonates with you just as well as these people resonate with me but not you, and you but not me, right? Like it's fucking crazy, and it's all built that way. It's all built that way on purpose, right? um so yeah, I don't follow a lot of herbalists. But it's just over the years it became painful, it became hurtful, it became something that I didn't really want to be a part of. I turn down invites to things all the time, and it's not that I don't want to teach people more, that I don't want to get my work out there, but like I just don't have the fucking energy or the wherewithal or the desire to like put myself in a situation where like I have to mask around people who don't genuinely like me, or like I don't know. The amount of stuff I see people say about me online is enough to know that if I show up to any of these places, that it would just be like offering myself up to step into a painful situation like that. So I just pay attention to my own path. I pay attention to what I'm doing and what's important to me, and work on boundaries with myself and being human with you, and having tea, building a goat fence, like, and I also feel like these tea times really help me bring that home, because like I can be a human, right? Like, because it's not that I'm not human in my videos. I definitely try to do that. But every time I get a comment where, like, somebody sees me comment something on the internet just as a human, and, like, not allow them to push me over, like, and then be like, hey, you're not anything like you are in your videos. I'm like, well, I'm not teaching you anything other than fucking boundaries right now. So that probably doesn't feel very good, but, like, you're smart enough to not fucking push me, right? But but and so it's just important that I come on here and I be a human. I talk about the shit that I'm fucking struggling with, because I want you to know that like it's not all perfect, and it's not all rosy, and it's not all like easy, and I struggle, and shit's hard, and I worry, and sometimes I lay awake at night just like you probably. Right? Because I think that's God, maybe that's the most important message that I could give. Beyond the fact that we're all smart enough to do this, like, you're also smart enough to accept the fact that it's okay to be however you are, going through whatever you're going through. And in that moment, like in every moment you are completely valid and capable of also like practicing herbalism at the same time. There's no point that you have to get to be ready to brew a cup of tea, right? Like to make a tincture, to start trying. Like there's no point in your emotional regulation, there's no point in like your studying, there's no point in anything where you're like, ah, now I'm ready. But they would have you believe that, and that's the shit that I push against because it's just fucking gross, you know. And and just do it however you need to do it, and that includes your existence, how you look at the world, how you exist in the world, how you feel about things, what you're experiencing. All that stuff is valid. There's no wrong way or right way to put it together before you're ready, you know. And so, anyhow, yeah, I see my mods are working hard today, which are my husband and my daughter. Some people worry about my daughter being a moderator, but she is my daughter. So, not your average 17-year-old. Like, her capacity to slay trolls is pretty fucking big, you know. So yeah, when I get to go and the trolls come in, I swear to God, I don't know what happened. I just see like held for review by moderator, right? Like they come across like that, you know. Um, so what is herbalism? Okay, well I could probably do a whole video on that. Technically, herbalism is just where you work with any sort of plant in any sort of variety to help your health in any way, right? Technically, and a lot of people will say, well, an herbalist now means that you are studying and helping other people and you have a practice and you're making things and selling them. I'm like, who said that? The guy who says you have to sell things, right? Like, you can be an herbalist. There's no set amount of hours or time or anything to be able to call yourself an herbalist, especially in the United States, because there's no such thing as a certified herbalist. No, there's not. Also, your master herbalist certificate was a scam. There's no such thing as that either. Um, there's no certifying agency of any kind that's accredited in any way in the United States. So I have a whole video on that if people want to go check that out. It's called No Such Thing as a Certified Herbalist, and it's a long video. It's like an hour or so. But anyhow, well, thank you for letting me jabber about, existence and things that are going and whatever flows out of my mind, because that's the way it works. If you would like to support my capacity to be a real human, to teach freely, to keep a roof over my head and tea in my pot, consider becoming a member. There's nothing really hidden behind a paywall. I do give early access to videos if I happen to get them recorded early, but if you can't afford to become a member, don't worry. I always release them to everybody on the weekend. You can also call things home from my apothecary. There's something for everybody, including a bunch of books I've written and all kinds of stuff. And you can use the one-time code TEATIME, TEATIME, to save 10% off anything you'd like to call home from the apothecary. If you can't do any of that, or even if you can, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share. Sharing is super important because it helps other people realize that they can be human too, right? That they can learn too, that they're smart enough to do this, that they can do all of these things just like you can. And it also really helps get my work out there, tells the algorithm that I'm worth being shown to people. So it's super helpful way to support me, and it really does go a long way. So thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I will see everybody tomorrow morning during tea time. Bye.